Hey everybody, I'm here to introduce to you one of the biggest changes to RideCave since it's been released, and that is adaptive training. We call it auto train. So when you come to RideCave next, what you'll see is a couple of updates. The navigation's been restructured a little bit to be simpler between ride and plan categories. There's also a new home tab where your calendar remains, and below the Home tab, you'll notice a My Dashboard section. The My Dashboard section shows your active plan, if you have a workout plan. It shows your training status, which you'll see in a moment, a nutrition guide to give you information on what you should be eating and drinking, and a fitness streak module to give you encouragement to continue working out. Further down the page, you'll see a What's New module that gives you updates on key release milestones, and then common actions and things to do in the app. At the top, you'll see a new Auto Train button that you can select, and it tells you a little bit about Auto Train. This is the adaptive training feature, and it goes hand in hand with the dashboard below. So our plans have been revamped slightly, and you can generate one just like you used to with a couple of clicks. You select your current fitness, you select your training goal, maybe you're peaking for an event, and you select a discipline. This is optional, but let's say I'm training for a long road course. You select your start and end date, that looks fine to me, and then you select your weekly hours. Let's say I have 10 hours. You get a preview of the phases and the overall details, and then you can enable auto train here. You can turn it off as well. And what auto train does is it adjusts your plan based on performance, missed workouts, and more. It also reads your current fitness, ramps you up safely week to week, and tapers you fresh for your event. So I'm going to go ahead and generate this plan, and within seconds I see my plan. Depending on your current fitness level, you may see that your plan ramps you up slowly. For example, I said I have 10 hours of training. My first week is actually 8 hours at 450 training load. And then it ramps up from there and eventually gets you into your zone of around 10 hours of training. There are deep sports physiology philosophies baked into the tool. There's safety caps that prevent you from overtraining or undertraining, and you can see that you actually start tapering for your event too. Your training load reduces and your volume also decreases. So this is your adaptive training plan, and you can go ahead and save this, and now it's activated. Once your training plan exists, there's a new feature down here where you can simulate various scenarios. Let's say you're feeling sick and you know you're going to be out next week. So you can select Miss Training next week and simulate. And this rebuilds your plan and describes the situation. Here's the explanation. In this scenario, if you missed 5 sessions over the next week, AutoTrain would rebuild your plan from where you are right now, keeping your fitness steady rather than trying to catch up all at once, etc., etc. And it says fitness from 0 to 0 because I'm just starting out and I did the simulation. You can also see the impact over the week, and you can update the plan with this scenario. There's other ways to do simulation. You can also do custom simulation date range for misses and underperformance. Here you can delete, deactivate, and do other things with the plan, including a plan check-in. So while you're doing your plan, you may occasionally want to do a check-in where if you're feeling like it's been too hard or too easy, you can make adjustments to your plan and increase the training load. For example, here we're increasing the training load from 2000, I'm sorry, this was really hard, so we're actually decreasing. So we're decreasing it from 2,835 to 2,675. So that's one way to adjust your plan along the way. This looks good though. I have an active training plan and I'll go home. And now you can see that the cards have been populated. Some of them look a little bit empty because not much has been going on with my training plan. The training status data isn't present, and I'm on week 1 of 12. But let me go ahead and fast forward some of this, and I will give you a sense of how this works. So let's say you did every session through week 6 on target, and it's now Monday of week 7. This is what it would look like. So I'm reloading with a particular scenario, and there's some insights that may or may not have been made. Given that everything has been on track and there's no adjustments, there's no insights, but you can see that the dashboard has been populated. You're on week 7. Here's your training status, and you can see the fatigue, fitness, and form, and also a projection if you're able to follow your plan to completion. There's a nutrition guide here where you can see your next workout, what you should be eating before, during, and after, and then a nice handy summary of general targets and guidelines. You can refine your nutrition guide and select your height, body fat percentage if you know it, your goals for fitness, and your diet if you don't want suggestions that include meat, for example. You can manage your streak, so the default is weeks hitting 4+ rides. You can change to different streaks, and you can also hide the streak card. You can run an analyze report on your fitness. Because this is a simulation, I don't have enough workouts over the last 14 days. But if I really did and this wasn't a simulation, this would return the same analyze report you get from running analyze today. But now let's have a look and see what happens when you miss workouts or you get sick. Let's go ahead and have a look at if you're under target repeatedly. So here I rode weeks 1 through 6, but session after session kept landing around 70% of target, under an 80% sort of complete line. So when that happens, what happens when you come to the dashboard is you'll see insights are ready. Other platforms put the adaptation right in your face, and it can get quite annoying. So what we do is we tell you when an adaptation is ready and you open it. You're always in control. We never make any changes automatically, and you have a chance to review the adaptation. So here's a suggested update for the plan. 4 recent sessions came in under target, so AutoTrain suggests easing your upcoming weeks about 14% lighter while keeping you pointed at your goal, and nothing changes unless you apply. You can see the details here. If you open this up, you can see how it's going to change your week. You can see that the training load decreases, and you can see what drove that decision. If that doesn't seem right to you, you can refine it. We know it's not always going to be perfect. And during a refinement, you describe what happened. Maybe you just missed it, or maybe you were sick, in which case it refines the details down below. In some cases, if you were sick and you missed a workout, it might not suggest any change at all and suggest that you simply have better rest. You could hit apply, but I'll go ahead and hit apply. And in this case, because this was an undertraining moment and we detected a decreased FTP, sometimes these adaptations are layered. So not only did we detect that decreased performance, we also detect a lower FTP, and we suggest doing a new test. So you can go ahead and do the test right here, or you go ahead and schedule a test in your calendar. So we'll skip that for now. Now let me show you what happens if your FTP increases and we detect an increase. I'm going to reset the simulation. And here is what happens. Let's say you're on plan through week 6, plus a recent ride had set a 20-minute best of, say, 305 watts if your current FTP is 250. So what's that look like? Here, because you have been riding extra volume in this particular scenario, this is a combination of more volume versus your planned workouts. And so we detect that, and it now shows your fitness at 54, and auto suggest suggest easing your upcoming weeks because of the higher volume. That might not make sense to you intuitively, but it does if you consider that you've been working harder over the last few weeks in building up your FTP, right? If you normally have a 250 and we've detected a higher FTP because you've worked harder, that means you have a higher chronic training load. So anyhow, that's one example. This might not always be the case, but I'm going to go ahead and skip that. And here's what happens when your FTP is detected as higher. Because you hit a personal best for your 20-minute power, we suggest updating your FTP to 290. So you can automatically update it there. And I'm going to show you one more case. Let's say you've had a bunch of old misses. Let's say you've been ignoring this insight tag the whole time. You missed 3 scattered sessions back in weeks 2 and 3. Then you rode weeks 4 through 11 exactly as they were planned, and it's now week 12. Let's have a look at what the AutoTrain does in this case. So old misses on plan for weeks since. Okay, that's what this scenario is. So again, look at the plan here. You're on week 12, and somewhere back here you missed a bunch. So here, actually, there's no plan change because you've been on track since that moment you missed the 3 workouts. So AutoTrain is always taking your current fitness and assessing where you are right now in your journey. It doesn't hold on to past mistakes, and it's always assessing from your current point. So that's AutoTrain. AutoTrain has been trained on a large variety of simulations. We trained it on thousands of different scenarios across around 200 different athlete seasons. And we have this robust testing infrastructure such that when we make changes to this feature in the future, we can run all of these simulations and ensure that what we're expecting is what we detect. So that's how that has been validated. And this has been super helpful in testing the feature because oftentimes there's expectations and then there's what should really happen. And sometimes, yes, AutoTrain will make you come up short, or it cannot make you reach your goal because there's certain safety limits. So whether that's going to put you over a certain physiological threshold or put you into danger land if your training load is too high, those are all scenarios that you might not expect, but they are physiological sound behaviors built into the system to protect you. So not only is AutoTrain smart, it's also safe and it's built on sports science. So that's AutoTrain. I hope folks get a chance to use it and give us feedback. And I'll be using this going into fall racing season. Thanks.